Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
Then it is Friday in the Riv, TGIF. And, well, we got a whole bunch of stuff going on every level here. We got did you watch the Georgia shooting suspect and the
Yes.
father being arraigned this
Yeah.
morning?
Yeah.
I watched it. It was pretty brief arraignment, but yeah, they're charging the father with some serious stuff too.
I
So
noticed that. I guess they're gonna do like they did with that previous case. What was it in the Midwest
yeah,
where the kid was a shooter and they charged the parents as well for the
yeah,
actions of the child?
they'll
This
be
seems to be the new thing.
yeah, they're beginning to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
And from all reports, he had quite the dysfunctional family, I guess.
Hmm.
So, but that's no excuse, obviously, for what he did. But yeah, that was quite the thing. They had the arraignment live. They allowed the cameras and they allowed the camera and pretty interesting. We'll see what happens now, but they didn't have their real attorneys there. They had counsel, but I guess they're going to be assigned attorneys. I guess at some point in
I
time.
guess it's gonna be public defenders.
I guess so. And also, I heard that the suspect, the shooter, is cooperating with the police. I guess. So I don't know how much good that going to, but they did tell him in the arraignment he can get up to the death penalty for this in Georgia. So yeah, it just always it never ceases to amaze me when we see all this stuff, Jeff. You're right, but you know, they're always they always focus on the shooter and the weapons and everything else, and not we got to get down to, as Kamala never found the root causes for immigration, which was her and Joe Biden, but um, we've got to look at the environment we're creating for the kids today. I mean, we got all these video games where they shoot people indiscriminately. We have a lot of mental illness in this country now. We have a lot of these kids that have major issues, and all we worry about is giving the illegal immigrants free crap, letting them take over high rises and stuff like that. This is the thing that really bothers me about this. Now we've lost our way. We've lost our way. We can't. No, you're right. You have to be responsible for your own actions. But when you're a child and have absolutely no direction, and there's not we're not dealing with this crisis that we have. A lot of crises. I don't know if the stat's still the same. Last time I heard it had been pretty stable at 22 suicides a day for veterans. That's unacceptable. We have a lot of unacceptable things going on in our society, but we have a government that only worries about power and staying in power. They're worried about funding. They cover up everything. I mean, look at Colorado. They've got these Venezuelan gangs uh, taking over high rises, and they tried to lie about it. Then they finally got caught. They had video of this stuff. I mean, it's a tragedy because the people who were killed, the parents of the children who were killed, the adults who were killed, and it happens all the time. And then you look at it and they go, well, then when they look at it in hindsight, oh, well, this kid had like the individual who attempted to assassinate Trump. They said his family was dysfunctional too. Well, we don't have any. We've got a social welfare network that costs us hundreds of billions of dollars. Yet we always see things like this happening. We see child neglect not being caught by these agencies and stuff. I don't know. They get paid to do a job, and there seems to be no priorities. Americans in our society seems to be the lowest priority on the totem pole for our government, from the top to the bottom. Federal government all the way down to the city of Fall River. All we worry about is market rate housing. All we worry about is who's going to come here, not who's here, not who's suffering. But this is a problem. You know, we're getting a little philosophical on Friday, but I mean, I look at stuff like this and it's like, why? Why did this happen? They're going to focus on crime, on the punishment. Now they're going to look into all the things, and they're going to come out with all these, this was dysfunctional. But why don't we have these things? We give hundreds of billions of dollars out to the rest of the world, and we have people sleeping in the streets. We have rampant mental illness being allowed right on our streets. Just go to San Francisco. I went to Austin, I don't know, 5-6 years ago already, since I went to Austin, the capital of Texas, blue city in a red state. First thing, I was horrified. I walked out of the hotel, and one of the nicest hotel in Austin, downtown Austin, where they were holding the convention. And the first thing I did was had to step over somebody passed out in the middle of the sidewalk. And then I saw 7 or 8 others on my way to the restaurant, because I looked up a place to eat that was a few blocks away, and it was horrifying. That whole stay, they had all over the place in Austin. And I asked somebody at one of the restaurants, I said, was this? He said, yeah. He said, they don't do anything about it. They just leave them downtown. He said, they don't let them go into the residential areas, and they kind of just leave them here, and they pick them up when they OD. This isn't right. It's not right. So with that, I'll stop. I'll stop being philosophical today. But stuff like this bothers me when innocent people are killed, and I'm not making an excuse for any of these people, but if they're screwed up, somebody should have caught them. I mean, you can't catch everybody, but there seems to be nothing being done right now about the pervasive mental illness and drug addiction that is rampant in this country.
Well, it's like cancer and diabetes. They're multi-billion-dollar industries.
Yeah.
Okay? Treating psychiatric problems, treating alcoholism, treating drug addiction, multi-billion-dollar industry. Okay? Most of which is paid for by the federal government and the state governments. And that's where that money comes from. When you were talking about you were stepping over a body on the street and they only clean them up when they overdose, I was thinking of the 2200s when we go forward, where they're going to have machines going down the streets, just picking them up and throwing them over into the back, and mass cremations, because we've got to do something about it, and we just can't keep letting it be like this. But as you said, this happened in a blue community. This happened in a blue community, and that's their thing. Okay, and remember, Texas is a right to carry state. Okay, mm-hmm. And they don't take any crap from you. It's that simple, because they got stand your ground, and believe me, they're going to stand your ground. I saw a commercial for an organization called the Concealed Carry Association, Concealed Citizens Carry Association, or something like that. Citizens Concealed Carry. And it said a guy broke into the house, and a woman goes, "Stop, I'm armed." That's not how it works. It would be nice if it worked that way, because then the thief ran away. It would be nice if it worked that way. But you and I both know They don't care if you put your hand up and say, stop, I'm armed. They want to see the gun.
Yeah.
And then they'll try to take it from you,
Yeah.
which is sad.
And in most of those states that you're talking about, where they have the right to carry and stand your ground, they may say that they said they warned them, but I think if they go in the house, they're going to get shot first and talk and ask questions later, because there was a gun expert who wrote a whole bunch of books about self-defense. His name is Masood Ayub. He wrote a lot of books about self-defense, and in one of his books, he said, if you shoot somebody, empty the gun into him, because if you're alive and he's dead, there's only one story.
That's right.
And if they ask you why you shot him so many times, just said he kept moving and I was petrified I was afraid for my life. He actually put that in print at one point in time. But, this is the thing. The irony of this is that this stuff happens 99% in democratic places. With all the supposedly hand-wringing and social programs they bring, they never try to fix anything. As you said, CJ, they're making too much money keeping them sick. That's right. Treating them. Even Robert Kennedy said the food and drug industry is poisoning our children.
Right.
Making them sick, making them obese and diabetic when they're teenagers so they can make money. The healthcare industry and the FDA, they're all in collusion. They're giving us garbage food. We killed more people in Japan with our fast food than we did at Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Have you ever seen the ingredient list on our processed foods in America? I mean, you got 6-syllable words there. God only knows what they are.
Yeah.
Then when you look at the same list of ingredients for Germany, there's none of those 6-syllable words.
Yeah.
It's natural flavor, natural wheat, natural oats, whatever the case may be. But none of it is got chemicals. No FD&C red, no FD&C yellow, none of that.
Yeah.
Okay? So, our country is what's killing us.
Yeah. Well, we're murdering our own people like we did in Japan. Years ago in Japan, when you walked down the street in Tokyo, all you saw was noodle shops and Japanese food and stuff like that. Now you walk in Tokyo, you walk down the streets in the major cities in Japan, you got McDonald's, Burger, you name it. They got every fast food place on the planet. And years ago, when none of that existed, Japan had virtually no cancer or heart disease. Very, very few people in Japan died of cancer or heart disease. They had very, very low incidences of these diseases. And then we give them the food, our food, and we murdered more of them than we did with the A-bombs. And this is the problem, Yeah. And almost all food, especially in the United States. I mean, you don't see natural foods, but this is the thing. But this is what disturbs me. We have all these problems, and all they're worried about is power and immigrant and illegals. And
right.
Let's shift the bottom line. Yeah, let's shift the gear here and get back to little local stuff. Well,
I was just gonna go right back to local stuff, because there's an uprising at the high school because of this recent shooting. Because the kids have to turn their phones in on the 23rd of September. They must put them in those Yoda pouches, and that's it. And they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. They said, how am I supposed to call somebody if there's a shooting? How am I supposed to call somebody if there's an emergency? Well, one community in the country solved that problem. They got the magnets that release the locks on the Yoda phones pouches, and they put one in every room. But when you're in an emergency, and this was very, well thought out by this police officer, when you're in an emergency, you don't want your child to be diverted by using the cell phone, by texting, or by contacting somebody. You want them to be listening to the instructions of the teacher or the police. And to be honest, they shouldn't be talking on the phone. They should have their mouth shut, be sitting in a corner, behind a desk or something, so they're not getting killed. I have always supported no phones in the school. But again, because of the fall of the school system, parents don't want it because teachers are getting away with murder unless their children are taping them.
Well, the problem is that the children today think they run they're given adult rights. They're students, and you're right. Listen, the last thing you should be doing is notifying anybody, because that's the school's job. There should be. Well, I could say should be. I can't say there is. I would definitively say in certain communities that we have a policy for nothing in Fall River. But the fact is that our school system, years later, after 17,000 incidents, there's still no policy for behavior and progressive discipline. There's still, which is BS. That's to allow people to get away with it. But there should be a definitive plan in the event of a school shooting. Every student and every teacher, and there should be a protocol, and I'm sure the police department has a protocol with what they're going to do in the event of a school shooting. But yeah, as you said, children are not supposed to be talking on the phone, because if you're talking and the shooter hears you, you're going to become a target. You also have to be listening and following the protocol. Remember when we were kids and we always had fire drills? I don't even know how many fire drills they have anymore, because we were told that, listen, get out of the school, shut up. Nobody had a telephone. Can you imagine? I'll bet you there are 10,000 students in the city on their phones during a fire drill, if they do have them. They're probably all outside like this, texting everybody and talking on the phone and everything. I mean, this is total chaos. We have no order in our society. We have no chain of command, and you're supposed to. When we grew up, we were the children, they were the adults. The teacher told you to do something, you did it. You didn't get on your phone and tell mommy to call a lawyer and sue the school system. You came home, you told your ma that the teacher smacked you with a pointer. Then your father would come home and put his foot up your ass for giving the teacher crap.
That's right.
The same thing with police. If you came home and said a cop smacked you, you'd get another one. There was respect for police, because the first thing out of your parents' mouth was going to be, you must have done something wrong. But no longer. This is why we have chaos in this world. Yeah, I mean, look, they should be able to, and I don't even know about having a phone for a medical reason. They're in a classroom. The teacher can immediately contact the teacher, can have a phone, immediately contact the office, get somebody down there. This stuff of, they give them everything. They can't count anymore because they let them use calculators. You give somebody change, they don't know what to give you back. You try to round off something, they're incapable of functioning. They have made them dependent on technology. They couldn't survive 1 minute if we ever had a nuclear war and they were on their own to survive. The entire country, 85% of the country would be dead in 2 weeks, because they can't do it anymore. They can't do it. They think that hamburger grows in the store. They don't even know where it comes from. Half of them. They don't know what capital it is. And this is the problem. We have student populations that are totally, they think that they treat them like little mini adults, and they're not. They don't have the faculties yet. You're right. No moral compass. You're right. you know, they you know what they are? They're hedonistic, uh, you know, self-absorbed little pains. That's what they are.
The
Because
failure of Rome.
yeah, it was like that's all they think about. And this is what we have. We have no respect for anybody, no respect for adults, no respect for police, no respect for rules. It's only whatever's good for me. Shut up. I want to have my phone. We're going to have a rebellion. Well, lock them all in a classroom, take all their phones away. But, you know, then you'll have the parents. Oh, what happens if they get a, well, they're not. If there's a school shooting, you know, I want my, you know, well, I don't have kids in school anymore, obviously, but they have kids in school. So I want them to listen to the instructions, know how to get them save their own butts. And this is the thing. But we have, like, look, it's chaos everywhere. And I'll segue into a quick one we got to get into. The governor has done what we should have done a long time ago.
Yes.
The governor has hired a retired New Jersey State Police officer to become the head of the Massachusetts State Police because it's a mess. We've had all kinds of illegal activities being flagged. There's all kinds of controversy within our state police. So what did they do? They went outside. And I know that Nelson has talked about that for a while in Fall River. We talked about it, and I'm not blaming the police chief. I mean, he's got a, you know, he took over a job, and I said, and it's a problem. I believe that every department like this it evolves or devolves into an area where if they're left to their own devices, you end up with tribes and cliques and friends.
Agreed.
And then whoever's in takes care of their friends. And that's not good for morale. And it's not good for the efficiency of any department, police, fire, any department. And that comes not from, you know, look, it happens everywhere. It happens everywhere. We had cliques on the fire department. We had, you know, and that's where leadership and unions come in. You got to step in. If you allow it to go unaddressed, it gets to a critical mass position. And that's when you have to, unfortunately, bring somebody in from the outside, because you can't put anybody from inside that department in, because they're going to bring with them their clique, their group. We remember a few police chiefs ago. Remember the thing that was on television with him drinking with his friends in a bar during duty hours?
St. James.
That's right. So he was with his pals. So he took care of his pals. Then the next chief comes in, and it's the same thing. And it breeds dissension within the ranks. Happens in every department. We had cliques in the fire department. It's not good. You know, these things, that's why in the military they have the prohibition of fraternization between officers and enlisted men. It's a job, but it becomes a social club too, a social entity. And I think that unfortunately we've reached that point. Paul Coogan has done absolutely nothing. What have you had? 3 police chiefs since he's been in?
I think so.
3. Yeah, we had, well, that first one was, you know, but I mean, we've had at least 3. Off the top of my head, I can remember at least 3. So that just goes to show lack of leadership on his part. Has he done one thing to address the problems in the police department? Has he called some kind of press conference to say we're looking into this department, we're going to bring an outside entity in? Even if he didn't replace the chief, he could say, I'm bringing in outside professional consultants to evaluate the department. They did it once in Fall River under the Carlton Viveris administration. It was called the Coopers and Libran study.
Right.
They brought, you remember it, CJ?
Yep, I do.
They brought a professional group in, not only police and fire, every single department in the city. They evaluated it. They said, well, we're looking at this, and they gave a report. They said, this job, we don't think some of these jobs should even be jobs. Yeah. Yeah, everybody pointed out the correct course of action, but our mayor doesn't care. All the mayor cares about is, as he said, I promised the building. My rich friends got to get richer. The hell with the people. I heard people, and now I'm getting rumors, and I'm sure you are, that the people are going crazy because they're starting to get their water bills.
Yes, they are.
And their tax bills. And they're going, what happened? What the hell is going on? Well, nobody paid attention. We did, I don't know how many shows about the 23, 24% interest in the water. It was on a council. We talked about the council meeting. We talked about them saying, you're going to pay even if you don't use water. You can put
and you're going to pay more if you use less. Remember
That's
they
right.
said that?
That's right. And nobody, but that's what they do. They ignore everything until it gets to a point where, like, I got the bill. Oh, what happened? Well, get your head out of your rectum. Pay attention. Please pay attention. And remember, this is what happens.
And remember, they've already said that they're going to crank up the rates 5% a year for at least the next 7 years.
That's right, whether they need it or not. That's what they're telling you. They've created a revenue. This is now a revenue source for them. We're not being billed for water utilization. It's our water. All we should be getting is a bill to pay the expenses of delivering our water to us. Not the finance programs they were supposed to have done years ago and ignored. And now we have to pay quadruple of what we should. This is outrageous. This is another Coogan, he couldn't run a school. They never made him a principal. He can't run a city. This city is falling apart at the seams, and we're paying for it. And now they're going to be talking about more revenue streams, purple bags, trash pickup fees again, more automatic increase for 7 years, whether you need it or not. This is what you want for a mayor? 23, 24% increase in your water bill, whether you use water or not? An automatic increase every year. Even if the cost of the water department goes up 1%, they're gonna charge you 5%. That's usury.
Ask Carlos about it. Ask Carlos about it on the DeVos school. Okay, they didn't even have a water meter in that building, and they were getting water bills for $15,000. Carlos had to make a payment plan with the city. $15,000. You know what that was from? The rainwater tax.
Yeah.
The rainwater tax.
I'm telling you, lack of leadership from the top down, from the Biden administration to the city hall in Fall River. We have no leadership at all. This guy doesn't care about anything except it's just like the Bidens. They're all loaded. They're all money. Although Hunter did plead guilty now, so I guess Joe's going to have to go back on his promise, and he's going to give him he's going to either commute his sentence or give him a pardon. So he's pleading guilty. And when is he going to be sentenced, CJ? On the anniversary of the recall. My birthday. December 16th.
That's right.
He's going to be sentenced. And on that was the date of the recall and the Battle of the Bulge. And Chip's
birthday.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, it's you look at what's happened to this city, this country. It's you. I don't know what it's going to take to get these people to go to the polls. This is the only way we can change this. The food, school shootings. Where are our priorities? We give countries that spit on us hundreds of millions of dollars. Yet we allowed San Francisco to become an eyesore, to have people dying in the streets, shooting up in the streets in one of the most beautiful cities in a planet. And that is horrible. And I know you've been to San Francisco, how gorgeous that city was. And this is what we do. Our priorities, our government fundamentally doesn't care about the people. They care about power and making their friends rich and taking care of the illegals, which is just like Paulie. My banker friends, my lawyer friends, my investor friends. I have no friends who aren't rich, because if they're not rich, I'll give them a job and make them rich. Just like I am. Oh yeah, Paulie got hacked too, right?
Yes, he did.
Got hacked.
I was going to bring that up. The mayor has asked people to ignore any requests for money because he's not making those requests. That's not his account. So somebody either spoofed his account or cloned his account, and they're asking for money. So if you gave money to Paul Coogan, you probably didn't give it to Paul Coogan, or you didn't, it went in his pocket. I don't know. But he has made it very clear that the accounts are not his, so please do not give them any money. It's a scam.
He's got plenty of money, and he admitted it. So on us, thank you. Thank you, taxpayers of Fall River. I'm a rich man now. And not just with a good fat pension, but I got a lot of money I've made by sitting up here and making all my friends rich too. They've probably invested it. But I don't know. You know, I mean, I got to take them at this. I wouldn't give him any money anyway. So that's kind of a non-starter with me. You wouldn't get a dime. Yeah, with no increases. Yeah. But the reality is that, can we trust him? Remember the last accidents. Remember the last few accidents he's had and talked about. You know, whether it was the accuracy of his statements have left a lot to be desired.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I wouldn't say his version of the facts sometimes are a little skewed.
Just that much.
I'll tell you, but I'm very interested. This state police guy they hired supposedly has a really, really extensive resume. But what he's got is he's a professional. He knows how to do the job, and he's walking in not knowing anybody. And that's what you got to do, unfortunately.
And of course, they're all going to flock to him right away to get them to see their side, to try to get them on his side, you know. And if the guy is as upright that he appears to be, that won't happen. That won't happen. And the department may be turned around because of him. And we'll have to watch and see.
Well, they did it in Cranston, CJ.
That's right.
They did it in Cranston. You know, I mean, it's pretty pathetic when Rhode Island, that little tiny appendage that's next to us, does everything like does stuff like this, and we see this happening. But in Fall River, you know, Paul's kind of like he's got the deflectors on. All he looks at is his agenda, which has got nothing to do with making Fall River a cheaper, better place to live and a safe place. It's like, just make your friends rich and ignore everything else and say, I'm doing great for the city because all these people are putting all this money into the city, but they're taking it out of the city too. They're not helping the community. The people can't afford the rents. People can't afford food. They can't afford anything. And you're fiddling while the city burns. You're arguably the worst leader in recorded history.
I no argument for me at all. Hey, I'm not sure if we brought it up at the last show, but I know we brought up the fact that we had an an 11% turnout for voters, which is abysmal. Which Forer can be proud of that, I'm sure. But did I bring up the fact that people were getting tickets over at BCC?
No,
I
I
don't
don't
think
believe
I
you
did.
did.
I
No,
don't think
you
I did.
didn't.
Yes, I received a phone call from somebody who went to vote at BCC who had to, an 80-year-old person, 80 years old, who had to walk from their car to the building. And their car wasn't parked in a handicap space, and it wasn't parked next to the building. But it was parked in the wrong lot because the golf cart was in lot 3 on the other side of the campus. And the golf cart was there, and they would give you a ride. And the person who got the ticket, a $20 ticket, went and walked all the way across the campus to C building to turn the ticket over to the police chief there and say, I'm not paying this. I was here to vote. This isn't fair. And the person who took the ticket turned around and said, there's nothing I can do about it. So somebody's got to do something about it because I'm not going to pay it. And I'm going to tell you now, the woman took the ticket, literally took the ticket. I made a couple of phone calls on behalf of this person, and they turned around and they want the ticket. They want the actual ticket. So I got a hold of this person again and said, you need to get that ticket back. She tried yesterday. Nobody knows where the ticket is now. Oh, it's probably been mailed to you. Mailed to you? I said you got 20 days, 21 days, and then your right to appeal, it's gone. If I were you, I would get that ticket in hand as soon as possible.
Listen, I don't know what. Well, I got a pretty good idea, but what genius changed all these voting? They want you to. They don't want you to go vote in person, and so they can fiddle around with the votes. I'm
That's Ryan
sorry.
Lyons.
But it did number and you want to. I got another complaint, and I got a complaint too. My voting was moved from the fire station that's at the top of my street, which I could walk to, but that's not the issue. I don't care. But it's moved to Saint the Desert Church. Now I go by Northeastern Avenue, I don't know how many times a day. I take my dog up to BCC for a walk at least twice a day. I'm always on Eastern Avenue, going up Northeastern Avenue, going by Santee the Desert Church. There wasn't one sign showing you that it was a voting
Right.
place or how to get to the parking lot. Now, I don't know where they put the signs. But most people. Yeah. Yeah. Well, now the school's in session. You're right. School's in session. The parking lot's packed. And I don't even know if they have a right to give you a ticket. Who the hell are they to tell you you can't park in a public? This is a state school. We fund that school.
Yeah. Now here's the
so
issue.
They make rules so they can generate money. And
you
I'll
and
tell
I
you
both
what,
know this. You and
that's
I both
another
know this.
lawsuit for me if I hit the mega bucks.
Yep. But you and I both know this because when we went to BCC, okay, to do our show, you remember that the first day of classes, which Tuesday was the first day of classes, there couldn't be a parking spot found anywhere.
I know.
Even the handicap spots were full.
Right.
Okay? So we would have to get to the studio early to make sure we had a parking space. Now, election day was on the first day of classes. Didn't Ryan take that into consideration? Oh, wait a minute. Maybe he didn't go to college. I don't know.
Oh, he did.
Maybe he doesn't realize what it's like the first day of classes for a school. I know he went to school. I mean, because it's that way everywhere. It's at the public schools. It's at the charter schools. It's at the parochial schools. The first day of schools is a zoo, an absolute zoo. So that's how the ballots always are, Nelson. The ballots are broken down by color. And the really fun part about it, which I have to bring this up, you said that the Democratic ballots were red, they should be blue, and the Republicans were blue, they should be red. They can't even get the colors of the parties right. But they do that with every primary election. They color code the ballots, which makes it interesting. Oh, I lost Chip somehow. Not sure what happened there. Not sure what happened there. But hopefully he'll be coming back shortly. So again, this woman got it. Now I contacted elections. This woman contacted elections, and this woman was told there's by elections. There's nothing I can do about it. Nothing. Has nothing to do with us. That's BCC. Nothing to do with us. So you have to have them handle it. 80-year-old woman. 80-year-old woman. Can't believe it. This is how we treat our voters. We don't even want to give them the right to vote. And we said on this show, and the city councilors said, a couple of city councilors said that this was going to be a problem. This was going to be a problem. Somebody's making money off of this. I don't know who, but somebody's making money off of it. And it's not right. Because I wonder if election's paying to you St. Anthony of the Desert Church. Okay? I wonder. St. Anthony of the Desert Church getting there? Interesting time. I guess Chip's not coming back. So with that, I want to wish you all a very, very good weekend. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.